And here we go with a comparison video side by side of the HOKA Speedgoat 5 and the HOKA Speedgoat 6. So I've done like a couple of first impressions of the two shoes here, and you know, I have not done a full review, but I do want to go ahead and talk about some of the differences that I'm seeing in both of these shoes. Okay, Speedgoat. All right, so let's just kind of take a look at them side by side. We'll start with the laces. Okay, systematically, line by line, going from the top all the way to the floor, everybody. So on the right side of your screen, you have the HOKA Speedgoat 5. We're going to talk about the laces here. We've got like just your standard HOKA lace, in my opinion here. It's got a little bit of cushion going on and just a hair of stretch. Okay, coming over here to the Speedgoat 6. All right, this is a nice, a little bit stretchier, a little bit fluffier. And is it wider? Yes, it is. That is definitely a wider lace for the top. Okay, having a look at the eyelet chains of both shoes here. Let's play spot the difference. Here we are. So differences that I'm seeing here, you've got plastic or whatever material this is, kind of going all the way up the top here, kind of loops around here, and then same on both sides except for the top where it's that greenish yellow material here. You know, for argument's sake, one piece. Okay, and then coming over here to the Speedgoat 6, we have three different areas of identifiable lacing area. So we have the top here, we've got kind of the middle, and we've got the bottom here. And so the bottom has, you know, a definitive, you know, plasticky bit going on for the bottom two eyelets here. Looks like it's like just straight into the material with a little bit of reinforcement here on the grommets of the middle, and then you've got kind of this plasticky bit here on the top, which is a little bit more substantial than this plasticky bit over here on the 5. Okay, moving over to the upper, just having a feel of them, definitely a lot softer on the 5 here, a little bit squishier, I guess. Squishier is probably not the right word. Is it stretchy? That's the word. Yeah, it's fairly stretchy here, the 5. And then moving over here to the 6, does it have the same amount of stretch? Yeah, actually it does, but it feels a tiny bit more abrasive to me on my fingers. Okay, and then looking at the front here, we got a semi-structured toe cap going on, this rubbery plasticky material here, and then over here towards the front of the 6, you've got this flex tape kind of material going on here towards the front. Neither one of these shoes is waterproof, even though HOKA does make a waterproof version. Okay, looking for any other differences. Where they capture the lace here is a little bit more towards the user, whereas where they capture the lace here is a little bit further away from the user. Can you guys see that? Interesting. Okay, looking at the tongues of these two shoes is quite different. So having a peek at the 5 here, this is quite thin, pretty much all the way down. It is gusseted on both sides with gussets that are approximately 1.5 to 2 inches wide, and then basically it feels like the tongue material, where it's like supposed to be sewn into the shoe itself, it just isn't. It's just like a little flappy piece of material here. Moving over here to the 6. Okay, it's thin, but not nearly as thin as the 6. It's got a lot more cushion towards the foot on the bottom side, as well as the top here. Supposedly maybe to capture some of that lace bite towards the top here. I do like the tongue of this 6 here. Okay, is that material just a flapping in the wind down there? Nope, it sure isn't. There's none of that stuff going on. Taking a look at the toe boxes of both the shoes here. Let's see, are they both, they're both kind of square-ish. It's hard to say which one's wider. Like, you guys decide. Which one do you think is wider? All right, it probably is about the same. And as far as it being in the same height and everything, I'd say perhaps, oh gosh, is the 4 higher? Or I'm sorry, is the 5 higher? Maybe that's just artifact from this material here, because this material protrudes up a bit more right here versus this one, right? And there's not really much of an appreciable difference. Well, maybe the 5 has a little bit higher of a toe box there. Interesting stuff. Okay, and having a look at the heels, posterior of the shoe here, getting my hand into both. Let's see. Interesting. A little bit wider of a cavern going on towards the 6, a little bit more, same amount of cushion, like towards inside the heel where the heel sets, and coming up towards the top. Take a look at your elf ears here. A little bit more pointy, I feel like, on the 5 versus a little bit more subdued on the left side of your screen, the 6 here. And as far as opening goes, maybe a little bit more padded and built up on the 6 versus the 5. Just feeling the 2 here. Interesting. So 2 different types of feels for the material. Here you have kind of this memory foam mattress feeling that's almost like a tube shape all the way around, like this backwards, this upside down U shape right here. And it's pretty pronounced on the little Achilles tab here, and not nearly as much of that tubular feeling, and not nearly as much as that memory foam. It's a little bit more subdued, in my opinion, and a little bit less built up here on the 6, okay? But as far as like how the heel is captured, it seems a little bit more pinched on the 5 versus the 6, so perhaps a bit more relaxed. And as far as like material towards the back here, I would say that's about the same. Okay, obviously you have your little assister there. So coming up here, maybe a little bit more movement here versus, well, that could be the same actually on both sides. Interesting stuff, everybody. Line by line with the Speedgoats 5 and 6. Okay, pulling out ye old insert here of the Speedgoats. Is there a difference? Initially, not seeing it, everybody. I don't know. Can y'all spot the difference? I ain't seeing a difference here. Nope. I see nothing. So it looks like it's the same carryover from the previous edition. The holes are the same. The structure, in my opinion, is about the same. Whoop, back up. No, there's a little bit more material towards the outside lateral aspect of the shoe here versus on the Speedgoat 5. Interesting. And you can almost say that the heel cup of the insert on the 6 is a little bit deeper. Okay, if we were to be splitting hairs over here, and that's I suppose what we're doing. But hey, I want you guys to have a good understanding and act like you have like experienced the shoe via my videos. Okay, all right, moving on. So compressed molded EVA, the stack heights are there in your screen. It is what it is as far as the stack heights. Okay, and so having a look at how the shoe captures the foot via any kind of roll cage or side wings. What I call the roll cage is basically this material kind of going on mainly towards the heel as it captures the heel from any excess motion twist or unpredictability out there on the trail. Okay, and it looks like both of them have a pretty decent safety system, capture system for both the feet here. Maybe a little bit more pronounced on your 6 on this side here, and maybe a little bit more pronounced on your 6 on this side over here. Okay, we can see how it feels once I get my feet into the shoe side by side comparison for you guys. Okay, all right, Vibram Mega Grip, both shoes. What's going on? What's the difference here? Well, it looks like you have a little bit more of an opening towards the 6 as far as the exposed foam here, this U shape. All right, you guys can see that. Okay, a little bit more of a decoupling perhaps with the 6 versus the 5, especially about the posterior here, acting as a little suspension system for the shoe. It looks like they kind of split it right down the middle as far as the seam goes versus the 5. Okay, very cool. We're gonna get these on feet and we're gonna do a little side by side quick here to see how everything goes. And here we go with the Speedgoats 5 and 6 on feet here. Okay, room for the big toe over here, room for the big toe over here. Okay, side by side comparison. All right, let's give it a little spin here in the yard and report as we go. And we'll start with the concrete, then we'll work our way towards the grass and then. Okay, all right. So, all right. Left foot is the Speedgoat 5. Quite a bit of motion going on towards the front. Okay, and let's see. A little bit of heel slippage towards the medial aspect of that Speedgoat 5 on my left foot. All right, Speedgoat 6 on the right. It feels like the foam is a little bit stiffer. Interesting. And the external meta rocker feels kind of equal on both sides. All right, I'll swap shoes here in a second, guys. So a little bit stiffer on the right. A little bit of motion on my left pinky with that 5. That is not the case on the right side. I feel a lot more supported in the arch with the 6 versus the 5 coming on my heels. Yeah, a little bit squishier on that left side, guys. That 5 versus the right. Let's try the grass here. Oof. Here we go. Yeah, this is where kind of those little subtleties can come out. A lot more motion, just experience from the ground on the 5 versus the 6. So a little bit more ground feel on that 5. Okay, I feel like I'm sinking down, not unpleasantly, in the shoe of the 5 versus the 6. The 6 might even feel a little bit taller, or it just could be how the foams feel. Interesting. Picking up a little bit of motion in the heel towards the 6. Oh, that Vibram, their grip's nice. Going up that little hill there, both sides. Okay, that was important. So I just went down a little hill there. Okay, it's the Midwest. We don't have mountains, but I do have a septic mount. This is my hill. We call this Froggy Hill. I'll give you the backstory later. Anyways, let's go downhill. Here we go. The 5 feels better, in my opinion, going downhill. Obviously, these are fresh legs, so it is what it is. Interesting. It's a little bit more ground contact with the 5, but there's still motion going on with the 5 towards the arch, the medial aspect of the foot, midway. But that kind of settles down as I start to climb. All right. When I start to climb the 6 is when you get motion. So maybe the stiffer foam on the 6 just needs a little time to break in. All right, let's swap feet. Here's something interesting. Look how close the laces come for the same kind of fit for both of these shoes. Interesting. Alrighty, here we go. We swap feet. We're going to go for a little run. Okay. Here we are, softer on the right, that 5, stiffer on the left, that 6. Motion on the inside of the heel on the left. Let's see, thinking about the big toes. Good, sinking down a little bit into the foam of the 5 here, and got a weird crinkly sensation towards the upper of the 6 on the left, towards the big toe, and the rest of the top of the foot too, on the distal aspect of the left foot, coming on the heel. Yeah, again, softer on the 5, not nearly as soft on the left on the 6, but I can feel the accommodation of that little suspension going on of the 6 versus the 5. Interesting. Alrighty. To the grass. Okay. Motion on that 6. Same with the ground feel of that 5. Warming up to this 5, y'all. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, motion on both sides. Medial aspect of both heels. But brand new foams, right? Not broken in yet. Let's see. Okay, well, this isn't a which one do I like more, but let me just speak to the comparison as we're doing it kind of video. It's okay. Good on that climb, and then coming through and see how this is kind of tilted. See how it feels. Actually, I got a really good test for you. Hold on. See this ditch? Look how much that slopes. All right, I'm running on it. I want to test the motion of the shoe. Well, I'm coming down on the 6 here. I'll switch it up here in a second. Yeah, I mean, obvious motion, but it's not having any problem resetting for the next step. Let's turn it around. Put the 5 downhill. Oh, no. In a situation where you have to do this, I get it, but I would not volunteer for that. So the 6 definitely can hang. Get it? They're hanging. Anyways, more than the 5, in my opinion. Interesting. But ground contact with the 5. All right, everybody, let's bring it on back. Oh, HOKA in July. It's starting to rain, but I like running in the rain. We've already talked about that. Sorry for those that might live in a deserty coastal climate and don't get no rain ever. Well, maybe like a couple times. Anywho, that's what I got, everybody. The HOKA Speedgoat 5, the HOKA Speedgoat 6. That's a line by line comparison. Interesting. We'll see what happens with the 7. That's all I got. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye now.